From the Twin Cities, this is the Upper Midwest first look at tonight's news. This is Primetime News.
Ladies and gentlemen, Webster.
Reporters rushed to get the Supreme Court decision on the Webster versus Reproductive Services abortion case. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rod Graham.
And I'm Heather Harden. Well, the Supreme Court has cut back on a woman's right to abortion. Today's decision stops short of reversing a 1973 High Court ruling legalizing the procedure.
As David French reports, the High Court reached the decision in splintered voting.
In a series of 5-4 votes, a contentious and often bickering Supreme Court let stand several Missouri hurdles to women seeking abortion. But they stopped short of overturning the 1973 Roe v. Wade decision, giving women a constitutional right to abortion. The court said if an abortion is not necessary to save a woman's life, states may now forbid that tax money be used for encouraging or counseling women to have abortions. States may forbid doctors, nurses, and other health professionals on the public payroll from performing abortions. Likewise, states may ban the use of public hospitals for abortions. The court left alone the Missouri law's contention that life begins at conception, because that played no part in enforcing the law. But another restriction was quite clear.
The requirement is that if the physician has reason to believe that the fetus that the woman is carrying is 20 weeks or more old, that then the physician must run tests to determine whether the fetus is viable. And if the fetus is viable, that an abortion may not be performed.
Frank Sussman was the attorney for the Missouri Health Center, which lost ground in the case.
Because it opens the door. It's an open invitation to state legislatures to enact or attempt to enact, against the will of the people, more and more restrictive measures. It's going to engender legislation and engender litigation.
That is precisely what the author of Roe v. Wade 16 years ago contends in sharp dissent to the Webster decision, warning of the court's virtual invitation to state legislatures to enact ever more restrictive abortion laws. Justice Harry Blackmun wrote, "Never in my memory has a plurality announced a judgment of this court that so foments disregard for the law and for our standing decisions. Nor in my memory has a plurality gone about its business in such a deceptive fashion." He said the Webster decision is filled with winks and nods to those who would take away a woman's right to an abortion. And he continued, "I fear for the future. I fear for the liberty and equality of the millions of women who have lived and come of age in the 16 years since Roe was decided. I fear for the integrity of and public esteem for this court." The pattern of voting by the court shows Chief Justice Rehnquist and Justice White, joined by newcomers Scalia and Kennedy, as virtually ready to roll back Roe v. Wade completely. Scalia even said so. Judge Robert Bork, rejected by the Senate in his bid for a high court seat, says the decision really changes little.
I think Justice Blackmun's dissent in its bitterness made a lot of people think that something had changed. But in fact, the situation is what we thought it was. There are 4 justices who want to uphold Roe against Wade, the abortion decision. There are 4 who would like to overturn it, 3 kind of implicitly, and 1 who will not say.
The justices have agreed to hear 3 new abortion cases in the term beginning next October. From Minnesota, Illinois, and Ohio, they too threaten Roe v. Wade.
And so in the end, it did come in right down the middle, satisfying neither the left nor the right completely, but guaranteeing one thing: abortion will be the political football of the 1990s. David French, CNN, at the Supreme Court.
Reaction in Minnesota was as strong and diverse as it has been across the rest of the nation. Predictions range from the eventual outline of all abortions to warnings that the privacy of women was now open to the whims of men. Steve Goodspeed has more on the issue that has split the state for almost 2 decades.
And I think today they ought to stand up and cheer. I think today they ought to say, thank God, it's been a long 16 years. We haven't got it licked, but we're really moving. So, yeah,
Archbishop John Roach echoed the sentiments of many abortion opponents today who viewed the decision as an historic turning point. It was the Missouri Catholic Conference that helped pass the law upheld by the court today. The debate, demonstrations, and protests generated over the abortion issue have often centered on the right of the fetus versus the right of the woman to make decisions about her body. Roach said the court did not rule against women, but for the fetus.
Life itself is essentially so sacred that, in a sense, all other things must somehow be subservient to that right to live.
While it would have been nice to have a reversal of Roe v. Wade, that we would have been like icing on the cake, we're satisfied in taking the cake without the frosting. And I think what we've also learned from this decision today is that there's a significant number of justices who are looking for another case.
Minnesota Citizens Concerned for Life is just one of the organizations thrilled by what they see as a change in attitude, not only on the part of the High Court, but in public sentiment as a whole. And there are predictions today that this is just the beginning.
We're excited that the momentum is in swing and that eventually Roe versus Wade will fall.
If abortion opponents are convinced the tide has turned, others say the real question is who controls a woman's body.
Who decides? 5 members of our highest court this morning answered, politicians will decide. They are taking the personal, private decision about abortion away from women and instead giving that decision to politicians.
We have a situation where a court of 8 men and 1 woman are invading the most private aspects of the lives of half the population.
A coalition of women's groups adds that white male control will continue in state legislatures.
The result will be nationally a patchwork of public policy. In some states, constitutional rights may be fully protected, while in others, efforts will be undertaken to undermine those very same rights.
This is a step backwards for women. Planned Parenthood is especially distressed at what it does to poor women.
While everyone hoped the court decision would provide guidance on the future of the abortion issue, both sides could agree on only 2 things today. 1, that abortion opponents had gained a victory, and 2, that it comes in a war this nation will fight for years to come.
This is not the end. This is just the beginning.
Steve Goodspeed, Channel 9 News, the Twin Cities.
Currently, there are about 15,000 abortions performed in Minnesota each year. A woman of any age can get an abortion, but the state does prohibit the use of Medicare, or Medicaid that is, or public funds for abortion, except in cases where the mother's life is in danger or in cases of rape or incest. Minnesota had for a time a parental notification law. When it was in effect, women under 18 had to either notify both parents and wait 48 hours before getting an abortion, or go before a judge and prove they're mature enough to make the decisions for themselves. That case is under appeal and one of the 3 that will be taken up by the U.S. Supreme Court next fall. Keep in mind, in spite of today's Supreme Court ruling, nothing will change in Minnesota, at least not right away. There is a move among state lawmakers, however, to make abortions in Minnesota as hard to obtain as they are in Missouri, where the high court case originated. Tonight, Kevin Burns reports on the assault launched today on each member of the legislature.
Dorothy, I had a few more of the ones that you're going to take home with you.
This small office of the Human Life Alliance has been turned into a war room. Leaders are sending a red alert to members, asking Governor Perpich to call a special session just to deal with restricting abortions.
If Governor Perpich can call for a special session to save the Dayton-Hudson Corporation, he can certainly call a special session to protect human life.
Pro-choice advocates have their own strategy, a pink ribbon campaign. They say it should remind lawmakers of where the majority of Minnesotans stand.
But that they will talk to those legislators. They're all home now. And it is time to tell them that they are to represent us.
As it stands, Minnesota could be among the first states to change its abortion laws. A special session is planned in September to pass a revised tax bill. A perfect time, pro-life lawmakers say, to make Minnesota statutes identical to Missouri's.
A statute that will put Minnesota into conformity with restricting abortions after 20 weeks, and making sure that doctors comply with what the Supreme Court allowed this morning.
A recent poll shows 70% of state lawmakers favor a pro-life stance. Those on the other side of the issue, however, promise a fight, be it this fall or during the 1990 regular session.
Right now, if we were to adopt the Missouri position, we have to realize that that would mean that no public employee could discuss birth control, contraception of any kind, or abortion, the options, with any poor welfare person.
For his part, Governor Perpich says the abortion issue is just too controversial to bring up during a 1- or 2-day special session. And even though the House Speaker or Senate Majority Leader may agree with him, if enough lawmakers want to bring up the bill this September, the leadership may not have much of a choice. Kevin Burns, Channel 9 News, at the Capitol.
And still to come on Primetime News tonight, the cities are getting ready for a major traffic jam.
And death on the Mississippi River. Those stories just ahead.
Hi, I'm Dan Hampton, and you folks know I like a winning combination. That's why I chose the Jones & Red Trimmer Brush Cutter. It's loaded with professional features like quick starting, adjustable handles, and a solid steel shaft. You can use the heavy-duty line trimmer or metal blades for the tougher jobs. Jones & Red, the power, performance, and price.
Buy your Jones & Red at Chanhassen Lawn and Sport, Twin City Saw, Blaine True Value Hardware, and LTG Power Equipment.
Please? Sorry, honey. There's none left. More people are moving to Diet Pepsi, the right one.
Hi! For those of you who haven't made it down to your Toyota dealer while the sticker does the talking, I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that there is still a great selection of cars and trucks, many with factory-to-dealer incentives and extra value packages that mean it's a great time to deal. The bad news is that it ends soon. But don't come unglued!
Wrong number. Now I'll never get back to sleep.
Nitol will help you get your Z's.
Nitol helps you feel drowsy so you can get your Z's.
Nitol will help you get your Z's.
Meeting your new daughter-in-law.
Uh-huh.
With dirty dentures?
I just soaked them.
Soaking's not enough. Denture Cream cleans almost twice as clean as effort into 90 seconds.
Twice as clean.
Brush with Denture Cream or Minty Denture Gel.
The prospect of a Twin Cities bus strike looms closer tonight.
Negotiators from the MTC and the Transit Workers Union have been in last-minute talks since 2 this afternoon trying to agree, but at last word, the bus company was offering no more money, and unless it does, the union has pledged to strike Wednesday morning.
Well, I guess we're going to take it right down to the wire in an effort to get the thing settled, and like I've said before, if this ends up in a strike, the MTC is going to be the ones responsible for it.
Well, we certainly would like it to get it settled. You know, that certainly is our objective, is to settle it.
The two sides could be negotiating all night. Union workers have already made their picket signs up.
If a strike happens, it will result in what officials call a traffic emergency in the Twin Cities. Transportation Secretary Len Levine says a bus strike would result in traffic congestion worse than we've ever seen it.
Fritzy Borgward is live now with more on how officials plan to cope with it. Fritzy?
Rod and Heather, in the event of a bus strike, you won't be able to leave a half an hour early and expect to get to work on time. In fact, an hour might not be enough. Rush hour, instead of lasting between 2 and 3 hours, is expected to last between 4 and 5 hours. If you have to get somewhere in a hurry, you're advised not even to get on the freeway because you might not be able to get off. In fact, officials are also advising motorists to keep a full tank of gas because if you run out on the highway, you're going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of other motorists who are also tied up in the same traffic. State Transportation Commissioner Len Levine has devised a contingency plan in case of a strike, but with so many more cars on the road, it's likely to be little more than a Band-Aid. Here's what he came up with.
Without this, it would have been uncontrolled chaos, and with it, it will be controlled chaos.
In the event of a strike, controlled chaos will work something like this. Helicopters will fan out across the Twin Cities to monitor the explosion of traffic. Local radio stations will broadcast the results.
And I'm not set up right now to have done both at the same time, so that's something we can adjust to by Wednesday morning.
At least we'll be able to know where the backups are occurring and what alternate routes are available.
If you think morning rush hour is bad now, imagine it with 30% more traffic headed into downtown St. Paul and 50% more into downtown Minneapolis. That's what a bus strike would mean.
It's a heavy volume of traffic on a system that can't handle the traffic now.
In the event of a strike, the number of parking spaces available for carpoolers would be nearly doubled to ease traffic. 7 emergency lots have been set up outside downtown Minneapolis for that purpose. Minnesota Rideshare, which usually handles 1,200 to 1,300 calls a month, has handled twice that many in the past 2 weeks. People are worried about a strike.
Is we received our matches today, and we could not match you with anyone that's commuting in your area.
And naturally, there are more calls from people needing rides than from people who have them.
Those are my favorite people that have been calling in. And we want to encourage more people to call 349-RIDE if they have seats available in their car for Wednesday.
To help, local newspapers are publishing the names and phone numbers of people who need rides.
Is that something you might be interested in doing? Okay, great. What we'll do then is on Wednesday...
As part of the contingency plan, the State Transportation Department plans to delay non-essential road construction until after a strike, and truckers would be asked to avoid downtown major highways. Public service announcements have been produced.
But we can all help each other by carpooling, leaving early for work or staying later, avoiding freeways for short trips, keeping your gas tank full, and listening to the radio for traffic reports.
While we wait for word, workers at Minnesota Rideshare are bracing themselves and hoping Twin Cityans will pull and pool together.
Better yet, I'm hoping the strike will be settled and we won't have to. This will be a good exercise.
Here at Minnesota Mediation Services, there's no sign of that happening anytime soon. Both sides are still inside negotiating and have been since 2 o'clock. We also might want to mention that officials say this is actually a good week for a strike to begin because a lot of people are on vacation due to it being a holiday week, and so there may be a few less cars on the road during peak hours. Rod and Heather?
Fritzy, any talk that maybe the police will be more lenient in handing out tickets if a strike does occur?
Well, if you're talking about parking tickets, if you know, even though they're trying to encourage people to park on the perimeter of town and carpool, chances are they'll tow you faster than ever if you're parked illegally because they want to get things out of the way. If you're talking about speeding tickets, the State Patrol doesn't expect any because traffic will be so tied up no one will be able to speed.
All right. Thank you very much, Fritzy.
Sure.
An explosion and fire at a 3M plant in Decatur, Alabama killed 3 workers earlier this afternoon. 2 other employees were injured in the blast. A manager for the plant says a chemical mixing vat used in the production of high-temperature gaskets was to blame. The cause of the blast has not yet been determined. The names of the dead are being held back pending notification of relatives.
Divers were called to Lake Josephine in Roseville this afternoon after a man riding on an inner tube behind a boat fell off, and witnesses say he was attempting to swim back to the tube when he went under. The man, said to be in his 30s, was not wearing a life jacket, but witnesses said he was supposed to be a good swimmer. Everyone was ordered off the lake about 3 this afternoon as the search began. At last report, his body still had not been found. Earlier today in Minneapolis, the body was found, was found floating in the Mississippi River near the Lake Street Bridge. Officials have identified the man as 21-year-old Jason Relia of St. Joseph, Wisconsin. It's estimated that his body had been in the water a week to 10 days. Authorities say right now no foul play is suspected, but the exact cause of death is still under investigation.
Minneapolis police say they are looking for a suspect in connection with the murders of 2 16-year-old girls last Friday. Carla Harker of Sandstone and Lolita Drapeau of Minneapolis were found on the 2nd floor of a rooming house near downtown Minneapolis. The cause of death still has not been released. Police described the suspect as a Cuban male, 42 years old, about 6 feet tall, weighing 140 pounds. He goes by the name of Benny. Police also say he uses a voice box to speak. If you have any information regarding the suspect, you're asked to call Minneapolis Police at 348-2941. A 5-year-old Kenyan boy remains in critical condition after being mauled by a pet wolf over the weekend. Peter Lemke apparently wandered into the yard where the wolf was tied and suffered bite wounds to his abdomen, back, legs, and face. Police say they don't know what provoked the attack. The owner was not at home at the time and no one else saw it happen. The wolf is now in the hands of authorities. Well, next on Healthline, a look at a child killer tucked away in your garage.
And also the man who enriched many of our lives with his cartoon voice and wacky impersonation of a shipwrecked millionaire is dead. Stay with us.
We Weeknights are electric when you tune into the best of the Love Connection at 10, the Arsenio Hall Show at 10:35, and Simon & Simon at 11:35. Don't miss it, only on Receptive Channel 9.
People are waking up to the fact that there's no oat bran in Corn Flakes.
Hey, there's no oat bran in Corn Flakes?
There's no oat bran in Rice Krispies.
Wake up! If you want oat bran, try Cheerios, the leading cold cereal made from whole grain oats.
Hey, wait a minute. There's no oat bran in Raisin Bran.
Wake up to Cheerios, the one with oat bran.
Robert Stack for Brinks Home Security.
An investment in Brinks Home Security Service provides peace of mind. In case of burglary, fire, or medical emergency, for only a few $100s plus a low monthly monitoring fee, Brinks will equip your home with 3 door or window sensors, a siren, a motion detector, and a control pad. Your vital link to Brinks' 24-hour central monitoring. Once triggered, your system automatically notifies Brinks of an emergency.
We have an intrusion alarm at a residence.
And help is summoned to your home. When you consider that a home is burglarized every 10 seconds, yet homes with systems like Brinks are 15 times less likely to be burglarized. That's peace of mind. Protect your family and your home. Let Brinks watch while you can't.
Call 1-800-225-5247. 1-800-225-5247. Brinks Home Security Service. Affordable protection. A name you can trust.
Down here, a paint's worst enemy is the blazing sun. That's why the great American home of Henry Ford is being protected with new Sears Advanced Formula Weather Beater. It's the most durable paint we've ever offered. After all, for over 12 years, Weather Beater has maintained the home next door of Ford's close friend, Thomas Edison. Chances are it's on your neighbor's house, too. Sears Weather Beater, preferred by more homeowners for great American homes like yours.
Tonight on Healthline, a look at safety and children.
They play a game called Beat the Garage Door, and it can be fatal. In the last 7 years, 37 children in the U.S. have died in garage door accidents.
3 of those deaths happened in Minnesota within the last year alone. Maureen Reeder has our report.
The death of a Farmington girl became another sad statistic last week. Now, 37 children killed in garage door accidents since 1982.
We have had, previous to that time, 2 other deaths in Minnesota, so we have had at least 5 deaths. And there is a child right now that was injured recently in Minnetonka, still in very serious condition. So it is a situation where, for some reason, we're getting more than our share, and I don't think we need to have any.
Many of the kids are killed playing a game called Beat the Door. This may look familiar.
What they do is they will go in, get their bike ready, go over and push the button on the garage door, and then try and run out underneath the door as it's coming down.
The best thing to do is to test your garage door by using a 2x4. It should spring back when it hits the wood.
In Minnesota, in our climate, it should be done twice a year, because in the wintertime things get cold, they don't operate it as easily, and so the sensitivity may have to be set up a bit. In the summertime, where everything works a little bit easier, it can be adjusted backwards.
Older doors don't have this feature, so parents need to warn their children.
We recommend and urge parents to, number one, not allow children to ever operate automatic garage door openers. That would be the best and safest policy.
It's fairly easy to adjust your door's pressure to make sure it springs backwards.
It can be adjusted with a screwdriver. On this particular operator, this screw right here adjusts just the close force.
Garage doors with other problems like broken springs or cables may need the attention of a pro. In fact, it can be dangerous for an amateur to try and fix a garage door. And in this area, an annual checkup costs anywhere between $34 and $50. Maureen Reeder, Channel 9 News.
Experts say the best place to get more information on garage door safety is from your owner's manual or contact the Consumer Product Safety Commission.
The long-running lesbian custody battle over 32-year-old Sharon Kowalski may be over. After 6 years of court fights, Donald Kowalski says he no longer wants to be his daughter's legal guardian, but did not explain why. 41-year-old Karen Thompson, an instructor at St. Cloud State University, said she and Sharon were lovers and has been seeking guardianship since a car accident in 1983 left Sharon paralyzed. The court is expected to place Sharon in the custody of a third person, but her father's action has opened the door for Thompson to eventually be named her permanent guardian.
The man whose voice brought countless cartoons to life is seriously ill tonight. Mel Blanc, who speaks for Bugs Bunny, Porky Pig, and Daffy Duck, among other loony characters, is hospitalized tonight in California. A spokesman says Blanc is suffering from several medical conditions, including a heart problem. The man of 1,000 voices is 81 years old. Jim Backus, the voice behind another well-known cartoon character, died today of pneumonia. He was 76. Backus was the voice of the muttering Mr. Magoo, and he also played millionaire Thurston Howell III on TV's Gilligan's Island. Sherry Sylvester reports on the actor's career.
Gilligan? Television viewers of the 60s know Jim Backus as Thurston Howell III, the ultra-rich resident of Gilligan's Island.
Well, is it a glider?
But James Gilmore Backus, born February 25, 1913 in Cleveland, was trained as a serious actor at New York's Academy of Dramatic Arts. He played in numerous Broadway flops before finding a niche in radio, where at one time his voice was heard on 30 to 40 shows a week. Television soon became a successful medium for Backus and his lovable character, Mr. Quincy Magoo.
Oh, the housewife work is...
The nearsighted Mr. Magoo brought Backus 2 Oscars, and when he starred as the patriarch in Rebel Without a Cause, a young James Dean paid tribute to Backus by imitating Magoo.
Oh, yes, I don't know what to do when they cry. Do you, dear?
Drown them like puppies.
And Jimmy says, and we'll drown them. So somebody up in Warner Brothers got word that Jimmy Dean was imitating Mr. Magoo on a Warner Brothers picture. So they dispatched the vice president of difficult situations in a blue suit and a stretch-out limousine down to the set. And he said, he came on the set and said to Jimmy Dean, I understand you're doing an imitation of Mr. Magoo on this picture. And Jimmy, as if to say, it's none of your goddamn business. It's none of your damn business. Said, well, yes, I am. What about it? He said, well, it's Warner Brothers. Couldn't you switch it to Bugs Bunny? And Dean said, out, get out.
Backus starred in more than 35 films, authored 3 books, and numerous TV and radio scripts. His final film appearance came in 1979.
Office broken into, especially when you manufacture burglar alarms. Yeah, I got the report on the police call.
Although Backus was very unlike his 2 most popular characters, the bumbling Magoo and the superficial Thurston Howell, they remained popular with audiences through the years. Backus joined the rest of the Gilligan's Island cast for several reunion specials. He was in declining health for many months prior to his death.
Jim Backus, dead at 76. We'll be back.
To make our line of JB quality products for your car, we've got to know what we're doing. My brothers and I have over 34 years experience in the additive business. That's why when we make a product, we make it work. If it doesn't, you get your money back. Results come from years of experience and testing. So the next time you buy an additive for your car, look for Justice Brothers. We care about quality.
You're going to run into somebody new at Taco Bell.
Where are you?
He's Batman, and Taco Bell's got him. On 4 collectible Batman cups. Just buy a 32-ounce drink and your cup refills and new cinnamon twists are all free.
I want you to tell all your friends about me.
Tell them to drive, fly, or just drop by today to collect your free Batman cups. Only at Taco Bell.
Why should you buy Sherwin-Williams paint? Well, look at it this way. That coat of Sherwin-Williams paint protects your biggest investment. It has to hold the line against all kinds of weather. Year after year after year. So when it comes to quality paints, where do you draw the line? Ask Sherwin-Williams.
The evaluation committee is in your office.
This is my husband, Paul. He's under a lot of pressure. But now he's taking charge of his health, eating right by cutting down on cholesterol and saturated fat. That's why I cook with Puritan, with no cholesterol and proven 94% saturated fat-free. Better than any other kind of oil.
Your wife called sneakers before dinner?
Hey, Mr. Principal, carry your books?
Anytime.
Paul's feeling great, and I am too.
Puritan, make it your oil for life.
People who can't take the heat are getting out of the kitchen and heading to the state capitol in droves. That's where Taste of Minnesota vendors are in their third day or fourth day now of cooking up specialties for thousands who are both hungry and hot. In addition to the food, today's menu included temperatures in the 90s and the sizzling sounds of the rock band, the Thunderbirds. At the 4th of July feast tomorrow, a soft drink company will quench the thirst for fireworks with a spectacular 25-minute aerial display. How will the weather be for that?
Probably hot.
Looks hot, but at least it looks clear. Did you notice the drop in humidity, though, today? Oh.
I don't know. It was awfully hot, Joe.
We've been inside all day. We've got to get out.
It was hot today. The sky's a little bluer. The humidity was lower. It looks like the humidity will be going back up on Wednesday. Of course, the heat is putting a lot of stress on us and also for the crops, especially out in the western part of the state. According to the Department of Natural Resources, the western part of the state remains fairly dry. These are the departures from normal of rainfall from April 1st through the present. And you can see by far northern Minnesota has been well watered. Central part of the state also not doing too bad with 75 to 100% of normal rainfall. But the western part of the state, areas out around Breckenridge and Laverne and Pipestone, Litchfield, Wilmer areas, and also down in southern Minnesota around Owatonna, Rochester, and stretching toward Fairmont and Albert Lee. Those areas have only received 50 to 75% of their normal precipitation. And the southeastern corner of the state looks like it is the driest down around Caledonia. Those areas of Houston County have received less than 50% of their normal rainfall. So this heat definitely will be putting the stress on the crops for the next couple of days because it does not look like there's any rain in sight, at least not for the next few days. 93 and 72 for the very warm high and low temperature today here in the Twin Cities. The record is 100 set in 1949. Sunrise now at 5:32 and sets at 9:03 as the days start to get shorter now. Our pollen count is average. Most of it is cattail this time, but still plenty of grass thrown in as well. Presently a clear sky, a warm 86 degrees. The dew point, though, a comfortable 51. A relative humidity 30%. North winds at 9, pressure rising 30.02. Skies are generally clear across Minnesota this evening. A few patchy clouds in the western part of the state appear to be gradually diminishing. You can actually see the leading edge of that drier air now. This area of thunderstorms right along the leading edge of the drier air now stretching down into northern Iowa and eastern Wisconsin. And that really did push through the Twin Cities sometime this morning. Still sparking some scattered thunderstorms along the leading edge of it. We should be in the dry air one more day tomorrow. Then it looks like the humidity will start to return north, especially tomorrow evening. Out to the west, this big white blotch is an intense thunderstorm complex. The National Severe Storms Forecast Center has a watch box up for much of central South Dakota till 11 o'clock tonight. They've just expanded that eastward to include another watch box till 2 a.m. for most of eastern South Dakota and eastern Nebraska. But it does appear as though these storms will take a southeastward turn later tonight. I don't think we'll see them here in the Twin Cities area. Heavy rains also continue to deluge the southeastern states down around Columbus, Georgia. 3 inches of rainfall down there today caused a lot of street flooding. Here's a high temperature map. Once again, a lot of heat continues to build up to the west of us with record highs from Pocatello, Idaho to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Even Tucson, Arizona set a record high 111 today. We're going to be in the heat for the next couple of days. Only cool spots, areas that were receiving rainfall. Also the Northeast with temperatures in the 60s and 70s, and the Pacific Northwest with highs in the 70s. Right now, a fairly warm evening across most of the area. Twin Cities shares the warmest with Bismarck, North Dakota at 86 degrees, 80s into western Minnesota and the eastern Dakotas. Those areas receiving thunderstorms, though, getting some free air conditioning there. Pier at 69 right now and 76 in Duluth. Here's the weather map tomorrow then. Once again, another warm front starts to move toward us. This is the leading edge of the moist air. It will start to move back in, especially later tomorrow. We could see some very widely scattered thunderstorms along that line, but right now it doesn't look like much. Best chance of rain is going to be out in the Dakotas where the cool front is, and that may not make it in here until sometime late in the week or over the weekend. Once again, a very wet day shaping up for much of the eastern seaboard, all that tropical moisture out there. High temperatures tomorrow near 100 for western Minnesota and the Dakotas, 90s just about everywhere else except eastern Wisconsin and the Minnesota Arrowhead. It's going to be another toasty one. Our Twin Cities forecast tonight, mostly clear, lows mid-60s. Winds will be on the light side. Tomorrow, highs in the mid-90s, mostly sunny skies, south to southeast breeze, 6 to 12. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy, increasing humidity with lows probably in the low 70s, I think, here in the Twin Cities, maybe a little cooler in the outlying areas. Back into the heat and the humidity on Wednesday, sunny skies with highs in the mid-90s.
But again, you said the humidity is going to be a little less tomorrow.
Right, the humidity again will be less, just like it was this afternoon. You may have noticed, if you were outside, you would have noticed it drop. Tomorrow should be similar, and then we're going to see that increase again Wednesday.
But still hot. Okay, thank you very much, Joe.
Well, still to come in our next half hour, the hunt is on for the terrorist responsible for killing a British soldier and his family.
Were the gunshots fired at Americans during the Beijing uprising intentional? We'll have a complete report.
And the man who once led the Ministry of Soviet Foreign Affairs is dead tonight. We'll be right back.
Get 3 times the fun, 3 times the laughs, 3 times Happy Days. Catch Fonzie and the Gang weeknights at 6, Saturdays at 5, and Saturdays at 6:30 on Happy Days, here on Receptive Channel 9.
Live from the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida, come celebrate America's birthday with a bang. With music from New Kids on the Block, singer Sandy Patty, Willard Scott, Miss America 1989, the Mickey Mouse Club cast, a look at Walt Disney World's newest attractions, Pleasure Island and Typhoon Lagoon, and the biggest fireworks display in America. A celebration so big and so dazzling, it can only come from Disney.
Tuesday night at 7.
The new 130-horsepower multi-port fuel-injected Chevy Cavalier Z24. Everyone should feel this powerful at least once in their lives.
The heartbeat of America, that's today's Chevrolet.
When you think of all the fun it gives you, the new Chevy Cavalier just could be one of the best bargains you've ever driven.
Ooh, the heartbeat of America, Chevrolet. That's today's Chevrolet.
We've done some major menu remodeling at Embers, and you'll find the changes in our new menu very tasteful, like new grilled sourdough sandwiches and hamburgers, bountiful salads, and more. Taste all the new changes at an Embers near you. Embers Family Restaurant. See what's new inside.
Fruit juice cooler from McCain. The switch is electrifying.
The U.S. today filed an official protest against China over a June shooting incident.
Officials claim that Americans at the Beijing embassy narrowly escaped death when gunfire broke out at the compound following the pro-democracy rout in Tiananmen Square.
Richard Roth has more.
The U.S. Embassy has now filed an official protest over the shooting attack by government troops on a foreign compound June 6th. The embassy charges the gunshots were fired deliberately in a premeditated attack. The Chinese government had charged that a sniper hidden in the complex had fired on soldiers. But the embassy says an investigation of bullet holes and other evidence shows the shootings were a staged act and that the sniper story was a fabrication. The embassy report said one apartment belonging to a U.S. Defense Department attaché was hit by 18 bullets. The wild shooting caused most foreign residents in Beijing to leave the country immediately. Elsewhere, Chinese troops were brought into Tiananmen Square to sightsee. In large groups, the troops marched through the forbidden city to get to the square. Some took pictures of each other, posing in front of the famed landmarks around the square. The rostrum overlooking Tiananmen was open to tourists over the weekend, but almost all of the tourists have been Chinese. The huge show is another effort by the government to show that the situation in Beijing is well under control. While the troops poured into the square, Chinese security agents arrested a Taiwan newspaper reporter outside a major tourist hotel. The reporter is believed to have met with Wang Dan, one of the most wanted Chinese student leaders still on the run. A colleague of the reporter who was detained says Wang wanted help in getting out of China. The government of Taiwan has filed a protest because of the detaining of the reporter. some now fear the fugitive student activist Huang has been arrested. On the Monday evening state-run newscast, people who allegedly surrendered to police weapons they had taken from the army were shown being questioned. In the aftermath of Tiananmen Square, government officials have expressed concern about civilians armed with stolen military weapons. The government newscast said 2 university students and a worker brought in guns that they had hidden. The 3 will be pardoned, but the government says others who do not come forward with their guns will be dealt with harshly. On the political front, the National People's Congress debated a tough new law that will make it harder to hold public demonstrations in China. The draft law says no protest will be allowed to go against the leadership of the Communist Party, and the Public Security Department will need to give prior approval to demonstrations. The president of China, Yang Shangkun, told diplomatic visitors that it was natural for China's international friends not to understand the country's internal situation. He called Western criticism short-sighted, but he said China was not afraid of outside pressure. That may be so, but the leadership seems intent on keeping all outside information from flowing into the country. The satellite transmission of CNN and the Armed Forces Television Network were cut off in several more major tourist hotels. It appears the ban is to keep Chinese workers at the hotels from learning what might be happening in their own country. When asked the reason for the satellite cut, one hotel employee said, "We are having technical difficulty." Richard Rolfe, CNN, Beijing.
West German police are looking for 2 suspects in connection with a deadly car bombing. The blast killed a British soldier and injured his wife and 4 children. The Irish Republican Army has claimed responsibility for the attack.
Also in world news, funeral plans are being made for one of the Soviet Union's most famous politicians. Andrei Gromyko died yesterday following surgery for vascular problems. He was 79. Doug James tonight looks back at the one-time foreign minister's career and his role in Soviet history.
Andrei Gromyko was known to be ill, but President Gorbachev's announcement that the veteran diplomat had died shocked the Supreme Soviet. Gromyko, who was 79, was admitted to hospital recently for treatment of a cardiovascular problem. The official announcement said he died on Sunday. Gromyko played a key role in Soviet diplomacy for nearly half a century, most notably as foreign minister from 1957 to 1985. He first came to prominence under Joseph Stalin, who appointed him ambassador to Washington during the Second World War. Gromyko also served as ambassador to the United Nations, an organization he helped establish. His reputation as a tough negotiator who often exercised the Soviet Union's veto power at the UN earned him the nickname Mr. Niet from his adversaries in the West. But 2 years ago, in a CNN interview, Gromyko still believed the UN was the best forum for solving the world's problems.
This is the most representative forum on our planet, where all the countries have the possibility to discuss the most important political problems of the modern world, both global and regional.
Gromyko survived 5 leadership changes, his career finally fading as Mikhail Gorbachev solidified his power. In 1985, Gorbachev gave the foreign minister's job to Edward Shevardnadze and appointed Gromyko to the presidency, then still largely a ceremonial post. He retired from that job last fall, and he lost his last position with the government as a member of the policy-making Central Committee less than 3 months ago. President Gorbachev is expected to go ahead with his scheduled visit to Paris on Tuesday, returning to Moscow in time for Gromyko's state funeral later in the week. Doug James, CNN, Moscow.
Tonight in Business is next.
You'll never believe what's waiting for you. You'll never forget all the things that you'll do at Valley Fair. Valley Fair. Show us what you got. Show us what you really got now. Excalibur. Valley Fair is hot. Come to Valley Fair.
Don't forget, fireworks on July 4th.
Well, what can we do for you?
My name is John, and I'd like to explain.
When you go to some banks to borrow money, the way you're treated is almost criminal.
What do you want the money for? Well, I'd like to buy a...
What makes you think we should give you the money?
Well, I thought you were the ones who had it. What is this?
Just sign it.
What?
Escape to TCF. We'll give you an answer within 8 hours on all kinds of loans.
How long will it take?
We'll get back to you.
Have you heard what Cheerios has been up to?
Heard about a new Cheerios?
Listen! Listen to the sounds of a whole new apple cinnamon Cheerios.
New apple cinnamon Cheerios is real apples, whole grain oats, and cinnamon. And it tastes as great as it sounds.
Listen to the sounds of a whole new
Listen.
I love my new gas dryer. It has automatic temperature control that pampers laundry, makes clothes feel softer. Gas dries fast, and it works without a pilot light. But you know what I love best about my gas dryer? For the same cost, gas can dry up to 3 times as many loads as my old electric dryer. And with the money I save using gas, I can buy more towels.
Natural gas appliances. Once you live with them, you just can't live without them.
Tonight in business, construction spending rose in May, thanks in large part to a continuing increase in work on government projects. Construction spending was up 1.3%. The construction industry has been among the sectors of the economy hardest hit recently by the Federal Reserve's campaign to halt inflation by tightening credit and thus boosting interest rates. The decision over the weekend by Cheesebro Ponds to purchase Minnetonka Corporation will give shareholders $22.86 a share. That's a premium of 65% over what the stock was selling for in March when it was announced Minnetonka would look for a buyer. The Agriculture Department has a suggestion for wheat farmers in the northern Great Plains. Plant annually instead of every other year. Wheat farmers traditionally leave the fields idle for a year between seedings so that the soil will soak up extra moisture. The USDA says the waiting is not usually necessary. In stocks of national interest, some of the day's gainers were UAL and Digital Equipment. The losers were Allegheny and Time. In stocks of local interest, the gainers were Munsingware, Fuller, and Ecolab. The losers were Minnetonka, Lee Data, and Jostens. The Dow Jones closed up today almost 13 points, stopping at 2453. Boy, a lot of people must be on vacation. They've never seen the trading quite this light in a long time, about 69 million shares. There is concern in the economic community that the slowing U.S. economy may be producing stagflation. Deborah Barkini reports.
Some experts are beginning to fear the economy's soft landing is taking it uncomfortably close to stall speed.
The economy will continue on the soft landing pattern, but there are real risks now that it may slip further simply because once the economy starts going down, we never quite know where that's going to stop.
The evidence from May shows the downdraft hasn't stopped. Economic growth was weaker than expected. Personal income failed to keep up with inflation, and consumers reined in their spending. Car and truck sales tumbled, adding to already heavy inventories. Home sales are running below last year's pace. Weak consumption may be leading to cutbacks in production. Factory orders posted their sharpest decline in 10 months. And the government's barometer of future growth, the index of leading indicators such as stock prices, tumbled 1.2%. Is the economy headed for recession?
I don't think it is, but I would acknowledge that when an economy's growth begins to slow, the dynamics of this process can lead to an erosion of confidence on the part of businesses and consumers. And if that happens, then the threat of recession grows considerably.
Experts currently see few of the factors that typically push the economy from slow to reverse. There's little evidence of eroding consumer confidence and little cause for it. Employment is still growing, with few of the cancellations and cutbacks that often hurt consumer psychology. And interest rates have fallen, which should spur more spending. But if the economy isn't tumbling into recession, it is closer to the edge than before. Experts say we're at a turning point. The outcome may hinge on whether growing fears of a recession become serious enough to cause one. Deborah Markini, CNN Business News, Washington.
Coming up in sports, a Big Mac attack at Wimbledon.
Perry will have the grilling tennis match and more coming up right after this.
Gerald has his second break. Call the ball out. That's perfect. Why didn't you let him make all the calls, all right? Ball was right on.
Hey, it's summer again. And you know what that means? Ice cream. Couldn't you go for a nice cold Eskimo pie right now? Yeah, me too. This chocolate coating is incredible. And the vanilla ice cream, man. But you know what I like best about eating Eskimo pie in the summer? It's refreshing, even when it gets way up into the 20s.
Treat yourself to the natural vanilla and rich chocolate taste of a genuine Eskimo pie.
Party with me, my posse, and special guests Debbie Allen and Merle Haggard on the next Arsenio Hall Show.
Monday night at 10:35 on Channel 9.
Well, for all you tennis buffs, the fortnight continues.
Each match gets bigger and bigger, too, no question about it. You know, as Americans gear up for the 4th of July holiday, the biggest sports news today made it across the ocean, week 2 of the Wimbledon tennis tournament. And it came to a crashing end for Michael Chang, the teenager out of California. The 17-year-old had a rough day. He's also the French Open champ, but he could not get by his fellow American Tim Mayotte in this Sweet 16 round. Mayotte, who is an excellent player on grass, is the ace seed, moves into the quarterfinals for the 5th time, 6-3, 6-1, 6-3. His victory today over Chang. John McEnroe, well, into the quarterfinals for the first time since 1985. He had a 4-set win over John Fitzgerald of Australia. There was another death threat to McEnroe before this match. Security beefed up. He took it down to Fitzgerald to win it. Other winners today for the men, Lendl, Edberg, and Wielander. For the gals, Steffi Graf won today, so did Martina and Chris Evert, who was seeded 4th. Chris faced Patty Fendick, a 2-time NCAA champ, no contest, 6-2, 6-2, and she also provided the most entertaining match point of the day. So Christian moves on at Wimbledon. A little overtime duty at the Western Open Golf Tournament today outside Chicago. The tournament was delayed by rain one day, and the first hole sudden death. Peter Jacobsen needed his putt to keep even with Mark McCumber, but you see he lipped out of the hole. McCumber wins the top prize, $180,000, the first win of the year for Mark, his 7th overall. And for Jacobsen, another tough Western. Last year, he double bogeyed the 18th hole and lost the tournament. In baseball, the Twins are off to Seattle tonight, opening a series against the Mariners tomorrow night. And for the 3rd straight week, a Minnesota Twin was named the American League Player of the Week. Pitcher Frank Viola, following in the footsteps of outfielder Dan Gladden and third baseman Gary Gaetti. On the field tonight, Milwaukee and Tom Troublehorn beat New York in Yankee Stadium. In the first inning, the Brewers built their lead. Terry Francona gets things going with a shot just fair into the seats of right field. And that was enough as the defense came through after that. Paul Molitor at third base. Watch him rob Jesse Barfield here. Makes a great stab, and he is out as Teddy Higuera coasts to the win, 8-5, the final tonight, Milwaukee over New York. Checking other scores from Major League Baseball, Toronto beat Boston 3-2. Baltimore leading big against Detroit in the 8th. Cleveland rallied with 3 runs in the 8th to beat Chicago in front of 53,000 tonight. And no score, Kansas City and Oakland. They are now at the top of the 3rd. Nationally, Pittsburgh over the Dodgers. Philadelphia beat Cincinnati 2-1. Montreal keeps going at 3-0. The Expos over the Atlanta Braves, and the Mets have come back to tie Houston 1-1 in the 7th inning. At Canterbury Downs today, racing continuing there. The Chanhassen Stakes, number 4, Minor Flaw, with Dale Cordova up, held on to beat No More Hard Times. His time was 1:28 4/5, which equals a track record for 7.5 furlongs on the turf. Now, pick 6, there you see there are no winners because Minor Flaw was a long shot, so they have a big carryover for the 4th of July card tomorrow. The thrill of auto racing captures the imagination of many drivers who want to test their skills in a real race car. And in the first of a 2-part series, Marty Bass profiles a special racing school where those dreams can come true.
The world of auto racing, a combination of man and machine, together conquering the great asphalt arena of challenge and victory.
Car racing, fast automobiles. It's the world of speed with that music and in slow motion. Looks pretty good, huh? Well, looks can be deceiving. Let's change the music and let's put the visuals in real time and show you what it's really like. Driving a car is something that most all of us have done at least once, so the idea of mastering a machine isn't that far-fetched. Because of that, over 12,000 people have come to the Skip Barber Racing School and others like it to test their limits. A high-tech, outward-bound type experience that theoretically brings you closer to yourself. In other words, if you live, you can say you've done it. Classes are made up of some who want to race, others who enjoy high-performance cars, and those just interested. But when the moment of truth comes, a mechanical version of put up or shut up, it's hard to tell any book by its cover.
I've seen people come in all kind of shrunk over in the first morning and kind of tentative, and I've seen them walk out
heads up and strong. It's pretty neat. The guys that don't want to work at it, and especially a lot of the talented folks are lazy. You know, they just want to go out and drive. And those guys are the fastest guys in the first day, and they're usually the slowest on the last. It's absolutely, without question, the fact. And you get some people that are like ex-fighter jocks and stuff like that that know they can do it and don't want to work at it. They don't usually get much faster than they are the first day. And other guys, I've seen the most tentative guy become the best guy in a 3-day numerous times. And they're real proud of themselves. It's pretty neat.
Don DePaul lives in Riva, outside of Annapolis. He's a pilot for U.S. Air. He's used to complicated machines, far more complicated than the cars we drove. But he's not used to the situations you find on a wild track, rather than flying over one.
As you pick up speed in these cars, you have to be thinking ahead of the car, just like in flying, but things come up a lot more quickly in the car. In flying, you're setting yourself up, you know what you're going to do, you do the same thing every time. An airport's an airport, a runway's a runway. You're in a car, you're on different tracks, you have different turns, and it's a different type of thing. You have to improvise more.
The cars we flew around in are Formula Fords, a popular racing machine. They're well maintained, and they'd better be, because as you can see, there's not much between your stretched out body and the road. Not to mention just a steel cage between you and big trouble. You see, the idea is not to let your legs crash into the wall first. You try and hit with the engine. That's just behind your seat. Marty Bance reporting.
Thanks, Marty. Tomorrow night, look at some of the technical side of that.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun to do.
Looks like fun.
We'll be back with more right after this.
It's who you are.
Save the special moments in your life with an RCA camcorder from Best Buy. You'll get an autofocus 6:1 power zoom lens, excellent 3-lux low light capability, and an advanced flying erase head that lets you start, stop, and insert scenes without glitches. Complete with a telephoto lens, hard case, and a full 1-year warranty, it's yours for just $999 at Best Buy.
What you need, how you feel, every day of your life.
Hey, look what Pepsi and Rainbow have gone and done. We're sending you to Valley Fair in Pepsi's Take the Rainbow to Valley Fair Instant Winner game. Come on, everybody's playing. It's easy. You get this game card when you check out. Scratch here to see if you've won a free ticket to Valley Fair or great savings on Pepsi products instantly. Just look for this Pepsi display at your Rainbow store and take the Rainbow to Valley Fair. Hey, he won. Save big on 12 packs of Pepsi products with the coupon in this week's Rainbow ad.
Well, we hope you like your 4th of July hot.
Looks like a perfect 4th of July. They're supposed to be hot. Looks like it's going to be hot. Actually, the humidity shouldn't be too bad either. Winds will be light out of the southeast, 6 to 12. And for fireworks, temperatures will probably be in the 80s, again with a clear sky. So not bad.
Great day for a picnic.
Yeah.
Maybe
Near a
too
lake.
warm. Near a lake. Yeah. Thank you, Joe.
Enjoy the 4th, and thanks for joining us. Good night, everyone.
We'll see you tomorrow night. Good night.
What's in the spoon?
100% natural.
Better get a grip. It takes 16 spoons to equal the vitamin and mineral nutrition in just 1 spoon of Total.
That's a mouthful. More than a mouthful.
Spoon for spoon, Total has more nutrition than any other cereal.
1 spoon. Nice fit.
If it's whole wheat Total, it's Total Nutrition. And for a better cornflake, try Total Cornflakes. Better tasting and twice the nutrition of Kellogg's cornflakes.
Me? The most terrible nightmare I ever had.
It isn't real.
How could you? How could you?
You're not going anywhere.
Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall live out a spellbinding nightmare in Stephen King's thriller, The Shining, Wednesday at 7 on Receptive Channel 9.
Right now at Taco Bell, you can collect free Batman cups, like a free Batmobile cup. Or a free Batwing cup. 4 cups in all, free, with free refills and free cinnamon twists every time you buy a 32-ounce drink at Taco Bell.
I want you to tell all your friends about me. I'm Batman.
We Americans have had a long love affair with the automobile. And as with most affairs, there have been turbulent times. Times when we felt trapped and wanted out. Times when we've tried desperately to get back in. And times when we weren't sure just what we wanted. But through it all, our passion for cars has never ceased because they give us something we treasure dearly, the freedom to follow our dreams.
Live from the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida, come celebrate America's birthday with a bang. A Disney 4th of July Spectacular.
Tuesday night at 7 on Receptive Channel 9.